Okay, so welcome to today's team training. We'll be handling mastering remote collaboration. So there will be some questions in between, and I want everyone to give their views and their personal experiences. But before I start, I would like to run us through the objective of today's class. Okay, so today's objective for the topic is to understand the fundamentals and the evolution of remote work, to also learn about the essential tools and technologies for effective remote collaboration, to develop robust communication and collaboration skills, and lastly, to implement best practices for managing remote team projects. So as we go through the course, I believe that we'll be able to cover each of these objectives. Okay, for the basic knowledge, we know that remote working is working from anywhere with a team. It involves developing the skills and knowledge that is necessary to work effectively with team members wherever you are physically located. You don't need to be with the team at an office space to be able to work. And it also involves other strategies, like communication strategies and other means to achieve the common goal. So if I can run us a little bit through the history of remote working. As at years back, we remember that it was not a common experience especially for Nigerians. And we can go through on your own personal time. You can go through the whole history, but I have like a summary of how it has evolved over the decades, from the 70s to the 80s to the 2000s. I remember when I was a kid, the first time my mom even had a device, it was like a myth. We were all gathering to understand what the device could do. I remember when they started having emails, sorry, that time it was Yahoo Mails. So we were wondering, oh, what could this be, and the rest of the thing. But the whole thing keep evolving over the years. Remember the introduction of smartphones. At first, it was just you can remember Nokia 3310 and the rest. Then smartphones came into play, but the COVID-19 pandemic really introduced everyone to the remote space when we had to be on lockdown for a couple of months. So work needed to go on. People needed to carry out their activities. And in this part of the continent, the idea, or in the world generally, the idea of remote working became well maximized. So the benefits of remote working, I can say, are increased flexibility. This actually allows employees to work from anywhere, providing greater work-life balance. And also access to global talent. Anybody around the world can work for a company. So it helps a company to actually get in touch with people with great talent. You don't need to be in a location. So this enables organizations to hire the best talents regardless of geographical location. Also, cost savings, reduce expenses related to office space, utilities, and commuting. We know that most companies now are they work hybrid, so they don't have to pay for facility bills. They don't have to pay for office spaces. They don't have to even as little as transportation to your office, you don't need to pay. So it really reduces costs for both the company and the employees. It also enhances productivity. Many employees report higher productivity due to fewer distractions and flexible work hours. That there are some people that once it's 12 o'clock, naturally they tend to shut down, and they don't in an office space, they don't function, they are not productive anywhere anymore. So this kind of situation limits an employee's productivity. But working remotely, an employee can maybe decide to wake up in the night to carry out the project. So it really helps to enhance productivity. Also, environmental impact. It decreases the carbon footprint associated with commuting and office energy consumption. We know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, that coming in contact with people was a very high risk, because you might contact. So at this time where most companies are working remotely, God forbid, I would say, if there happen to be any outbreak, I don't think people will really be at a higher risk as it was then. But I don't pray for such. So it really reduces environmental impact. But at the same time, it also has its own challenges working remotely, have communication barriers. So there's difficulty in ensuring clear and effective communication across different time zones and cultures. You know, when you're working with, I read something today, and the person was like, I've lived another 365 days around the sun. And another person made a comment that, how would you sleep at noon? Actually, the thought that came to my head reading all those things was, if you claim that this is noon in your own location, it might be morning in another person's location. So it actually, so while some people might be sleeping, some people might be awake working. So it kind of poses a challenge with time zones differences. Also, there's another challenge of building trust. In fostering trust and rapport among team members who have never met in person. There are people that you might not really know what the extreme they can go, what their belief system is, because all they do is just to submit tasks, meet up with deadlines and everything. What you just do is work on a project together. You don't really know how far they can go. So it really limits the extent in which you can trust them. And then it's also technology dependence, reliance on stable internet connections and digital tools, which can be prone to technical issues. A clear example is just the protests that have been ongoing for a couple of days, especially on last week, Thursday and Friday. We realized that the network was quite messy, and it also the power supply was also down. So most times you might be experiencing these things as Nigerians that we are. Most times we know that our network is not as stable and reliable as it should be, even our power supply. And apart from that, also, because we're working with devices that can develop any issue at any time. So this is also a very big problem, because you are totally dependent on technology. Okay, so another challenge that we can encounter is isolation and loneliness. I remember speaking with a friend one time, and she happens to be a very reserved person. Like, I don't think I've ever seen somebody so much reserved. And as I was speaking with her at that time, she was like, that most times that she has to maybe scream in her room to be sure her voice was still working, because she works remotely and nobody's living with her. She doesn't relate with anybody else. She doesn't make phone calls. So all she does is just to press her laptop, work remotely, and live her life. So there was a day that she felt very isolated from the whole world, and she wanted to be sure. And this can actually bring mental health issues, because many people will, from that, will go into depression. And it's not captured here though, but it can also bring some personal challenges. Like one might be sick in his or her home, and nobody will know because we are all working remotely. And then there's also the challenge of management and accountability. Difficulty in monitoring performance and ensuring accountability without physical oversight. Many people might this is quite common, but I will not really break it down so much. But many people might be claiming to be working on a task, and then just for you to realize that at the end of the day, that was not being done because people are not being supervised physically. So these are some of the challenges that come with remote working. So understanding different types of remote teams. We know we have the fully remote and we have the hybrid, which we operate in the company. So fully remote is a situation where people don't get to see each other. Maybe you're working for people in another country and another continent per se. So you don't get to meet with these people ever. But hybrid is a situation where once in a while you can have a physical meeting. So these are some of the characteristics of high performance remote teams. So I will just go through it, each of them, and try to break it down. So we have clear communication. Utilize effective communication tools and establish regular check-ins. So for you to be able to know that people are meeting their tasks, there should be a channel where you can track what other people are doing part-time. So set clear expectation and guidelines for communicating protocols. Encourage open, honest, and transparent communication among team members. When people cannot meet up with their tasks, they should be able to communicate to their supervisors. Okay, this is the challenge I'm having. They should be able to be honest and open. And it will also help to build trust. It will also help to meet the team's objectives at the end of the day. Strong leadership. Leaders who are empathic, flexible, and adaptable to the needs of remote team members, provide clear direction, set clear goals, and offer support and resources, foster a culture of trust and accountability. So in a situation where a leader can understand the challenges that one may be encountering as a result of maybe network issues or whatever the case may be, it also helps to manage the team better. Okay, so define rules and responsibility. Clearly delineates each team member's role and responsibility to avoid confusion and overlap. Ensure that everyone understands their tasks and how they contribute to the overall team goal. And we do this very well, whereby you will not have to be working on something that was not your own role at completely. So you know what you're working with. And also the platform where we work from really help us to tackle this issue so that you not be out of point completely in any way. You'll be able to effectively carry out your roles and responsibility. So we have effective use of technology, leverage the right tools for communication, collaboration, and project management like Slack, Zoom, Asana, Trello, and the likes. And then ensure all team members are trained and comfortable using these tools. If a team introduces a tool and team members don't know the use of the tool, it might also be a great challenge. So it's okay to, I remember when we first introduced the use of Slack, we had to go through it together, and we made use we can now effectively communicate on Slack without any challenge, and also other similar platforms like that. So the next one is goal alignment. Align individual and team members with the team goals, with the organizational objectives. Set SMART, that SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Set SMART goals for better focus and direction. Because if the team is just doing everything and not doing anything, it's a challenge. So also encourage regular feedbacks and recognition. Implement a system for regular performance feedback and recognition. Celebrate achievements and milestones to maintain motivation and morale. Like if someone is doing something great in the team, everybody should be able to celebrate the person and encourage the person to do better. Okay, so collaboration and teamwork. Encourage a collaborative environment where team members support and learn from each other. I would say this personally, I've experienced growth in this aspect where things I never really knew how to do from another team members, maybe use of that, maybe a technology or a platform or anything. It has really helped me to improve my own skill. So also promote inclusive practices and value diverse perspective and ideas. We know that we are not all in one location and we're not all from one background. So people might definitely, they will have different perspective and ideas. So we should encourage that, and it will help to grow the team. So I will just read through it. I will just list out the points, and maybe later on in your spare time, you can maybe look through how you can understand better. So there's adaptability and flexibility, there's strong team culture, there's work-life balance, there's continuous improvement. Let me just mention a little about work-life balance. So you support, and as a team member, you support and encourage a healthy work-life balance to prevent burnout and maintain productivity. We know that working remotely can be a little bit challenging, where because of the number of tasks that one might need to do, and because you don't have office hours, like in a sense that you wake up and then go to your office, say by 8 a.m., and then you come back, or maybe there's lunch in between 12 to, let's say, 1, and then you come back, you close your office and leave the office by, say, 4 or 5. It also helps you to maintain that once you leave the office space, you understand, okay, I'm getting home, this is what I'm supposed to do, eat, rest, and then resume the next day. But in a remote setting, you can literally overwork yourself, because if you don't know how to set boundaries, if you don't know how to organize your schedules, you might end up just doing everything and not giving time for yourself to rest.